Have you ever worked yourself to exhaustion and still felt like it wasn't enough? Ever sat in a crowded office and felt like you were slowly disappearing? If so, you might be facing something far more dangerous than just being tired. You might be burned out. But the scariest part? The real causes of burnout aren't always what you think. Welcome to Recharge and Reignite. In today's video, we're uncovering the hidden causes of workplace burnout. The silent forces draining your energy, your passion, and your sense of self. Because once you understand what's really behind the burnout, you can finally begin the journey back to yourself. The hidden causes of workplace burnout. Unmasking the silent triggers draining our energy and passion. Introduction. More than just stress. Burnout. We hear this word so often that it's almost lost its meaning. We casually say, "I'm burnout," after a long day or week. But true workplace burnout is far deeper, more dangerous, and more complex than temporary exhaustion. It's not just about being tired or stressed. It's about a chronic depletion of emotional, physical, and mental resources, an erosion of soul that doesn't go away after a weekend off. Most people assume burnout is simply the result of working too many hours. And while overwork certainly plays a role, research and personal stories reveal that the real causes of burnout are often hidden, subtle, and systemic. In this article, we'll dig into those hidden causes, the ones that sneak up on us and silently sabotage our well-being at work. 1. Meaningless work, the soul killer. One of the most insidious causes of burnout is a lack of meaning in the work we do. Humans are meaning-making creatures. We thrive when we feel our actions contribute to something larger than ourselves. When that's missing, our inner motivation dries up. Take, for example, the modern-day corporate employee who spends hours crafting PowerPoint decks that no one reads, attending meetings that yield no results, or updating spreadsheets that seem to vanish into the ether. It doesn't matter how many hours you work if the work feels purposeless. Studies by Gallup and McKinsey have shown that people who feel their work has meaning are more resilient to stress, more engaged, and significantly less likely to burn out. The opposite is true for those trapped in the hamster wheel of busy work. Burnout isn't just about giving too much of yourself. It's about giving yourself to things that feel like they don't matter. 2. Lack of autonomy. The subtle thief of energy. Autonomy, the ability to make decisions about how you do your work, is a critical psychological need. When autonomy is stripped away, we feel powerless and trapped, even if the work itself isn't overwhelming. Micromanagement, rigid processes, or constant surveillance, such as productivity tracking software, can lead to a state of learned helplessness. This condition, where one believes they have no control over a situation, is one of the fastest paths to burnout. In environments where autonomy is low, employees often report feeling like cogs in a machine. Over time, this erodes their sense of ownership, pride, and enthusiasm for their roles. 3. Invisible emotional labor, the hidden tax. In many roles, especially in caregiving, customer service, and leadership, employees are expected to manage their emotions constantly. This is called emotional labor. Whether it's staying cheerful with rude customers, managing team morale during crisis, or hiding personal struggles to appear professional, this constant emotional regulation can be profoundly draining. And yet, emotional labor is rarely recognized, compensated, or even acknowledged. It's invisible, but the psychological cost is real. Over time, employees begin to feel emotionally hollow, leading to classic signs of burnout: detachment, cynicism, and fatigue. 4. Toxic positivity, the pressure to stay happy. We live in a culture that often worships positivity, especially in the workplace. Smile through it. Be grateful you have a job. It could be worse. While optimism has its place, forced positivity can be damaging. When employees are discouraged from expressing frustration, sadness, or fear, their real emotions go underground. They become suppressed, repressed, and eventually explode in the form of burnout. This form of emotional suppression leads to what's known as surface acting, pretending to be okay while dying inside. The gap between external expression and internal reality creates a constant state of emotional dissonance, which research links directly to burnout. 5. Misaligned values. When your job conflicts with who you are. Sometimes burnout stems not from what you're doing, but from who you have to be in order to do it. If your work environment celebrates aggressive competition, but you value collaboration, if your company prioritizes profit over people, but you value empathy and fairness, if you're asked to push a product you don't believe in, over time, this kind of values conflict causes deep internal stress. You feel like you're betraying yourself to keep a paycheck. This internal war is emotionally exhausting, and left unresolved, it leads straight to burnout. 6. Unclear expectations and role confusion. Nothing is more frustrating than trying to hit a target you can't see. When expectations are vague or constantly shifting, employees live in a state of uncertainty. Do I focus on speed or quality? Do I report to this manager or that one? Am I being judged on metrics or outcomes? This lack of clarity creates chronic low-level anxiety. Every decision feels like a gamble. Over time, this erodes confidence, motivation, and engagement. Classic signs of creeping burnout. 7. Chronic underappreciation, the silent demotivator. Humans don't just work for money. We work for recognition, for validation, for the sense that we matter. When hard work goes unnoticed, or worse, is taken for granted, it chips away at morale. We start to ask, why am I even bothering? When this happens consistently, it leads to disengagement, bitterness, and eventually emotional exhaustion. Recognition doesn't have to be grand. A simple thank you, a compliment in a meeting, or a note of appreciation can go a long way. But when appreciation is absent, burnout grows in the void. 8. Isolation in a crowded office. You can be surrounded by people and still feel utterly alone. In today's hybrid and remote work cultures, employees often report feeling disconnected, not just physically, but emotionally. Slack messages can't replace meaningful human connection. Zoom meetings can't substitute shared laughter in the break room. Even in physical offices, toxic environments or hyper-competitive cultures can make it hard to form real bonds. Social isolation is a major predictor of burnout and even depression. People need community. They need to feel seen, supported, and safe. When that's missing, burnout finds an open door. 9. Unresolved conflict and microaggressions. Not all stress comes from deadlines. Some of the deepest workplace wounds come from toxic interpersonal dynamics. Passive-aggressive colleagues, microaggressions, bullying masked as banter, office politics, racial, gender, or age discrimination. These interpersonal stressors are often ignored or minimized by leadership, but they create deep psychological strain. Employees may feel gaslighted, undervalued, or targeted, conditions that rapidly lead to emotional withdrawal and burnout. 10. Always-on culture, the erosion of boundaries. Thanks to smartphones and remote work, the boundary between work and life has become almost non-existent. Emails at midnight, Slack messages on weekends, just a quick call during dinner. This always-on culture creates a state of hypervigilance, where employees are never truly off. Even during rest, the brain remains alert to work notifications. Over time, this state of perpetual tension leads to burnout. Real rest requires psychological detachment from work. But in many modern workplaces, this has become a luxury rather than a right. Conclusion: the way forward. Burnout isn't just a personal failure or a result of poor time management. It's often a predictable result of a broken system, a system that ignores the human needs of meaning, autonomy, connection, and dignity. The good news? Burnout is preventable and even reversible when organizations and individuals are willing to address these hidden causes. For leaders, it means creating environments where people feel seen, valued, and trusted. For employees, it means learning to identify early warning signs and advocating for your own needs. And for society, it means redefining success not just in terms of productivity, but also in terms of well-being. Burnout may be silent, but it doesn't have to be invisible anymore. By bringing its hidden causes into the light, we can start the healing process, not just for ourselves, but for the future of work itself.